Sometimes, losing someone is the greatest gift fate can give you, especially when that person only wanted to use you. It all started on a cloudy afternoon, the kind that seems to warn you something is about to go wrong. I was in my small apartment, surrounded by silence and cold coffee, when she came into my life like a storm disguised as a breeze. Her name? Camila. A pretty face, a rehearsed smile, and eyes that could manipulate like no one else. We met by chance, or at least what I thought was chance. A meeting in a coffee shop, where she asked to borrow my phone charger and slowly ended up stealing something much more valuable. My peace. First, everything seemed perfect. Camila was sweet, charismatic, full of dreams, or at least, that's what she made me believe. She talked about wanting to grow in life, find stability, travel the world, and I, with my naive heart, wanted to give her everything I could. Even though I didn't have much, I tried. I worked as a freelance programmer, made little money, but had big plans and a determination that couldn't be contained. She said she didn't care about money, that what mattered most was affection, presence, respect. And I believed her. I believed so much that, even in debt, I took her to nice restaurants, bought her simple but sincere gifts. Weekend outings, movie nights with homemade popcorn, late-night talks about the future under the covers. It was all real, at least for me. But the signs started to show. Small comments, little comparisons. She mentioned an ex who had a luxury car, complained about the places we went, said with a fake smile that she deserved more. And then one day everything changed. It was a Friday. I had prepared a surprise for her. A breakfast basket I put together myself, with flowers and a handwritten letter. I waited for hours. I called, messaged. Nothing. At the end of the night, she replied coldly. Look, I think we're in different phases. I met someone who can give me what I really need. The message was short, cruel, final. She left me for an older man who owned a car dealership. An arrogant guy, always surrounded by luxury, expensive cars, and international trips. In less than a week, Camila was already posting pictures with him on social media. Fancy dinners, selfies in front of luxury cars, resort vacations. My heart sank. It wasn't just the breakup. It was the feeling of being used, deceived, replaced by something as shallow as a leather seat in an imported car. I felt small, invisible, disposable. But that's when something inside me woke up. I could have given in to sadness. I could have drowned in grief over someone who never really loved me. But I chose a different path. Silence. Rebuilding. I spent months working harder than ever. I worked 14, 15 hours a day. Got rejected from projects, humiliated by clients, ignored by companies. But I kept going. Every memory of her saying I wasn't enough became fuel. While she flaunted expensive bags and fake smiles, I was studying. While she showed off dinners with empty people, I was building a plan. And slowly, very slowly, things began to change. I landed a contract with an international company. Then another, and another. Within 2 years, I launched my own tech startup. I started traveling for events, giving talks, being invited to tables I never even dreamed of sitting at. I didn't post anything. No showing off. Just silent progress. And then, she came back. It was a random afternoon at the city mall. I was leaving a meeting with investors when I heard someone call me. Lucas. Took me a few seconds to recognize her. Camila looked different. Her once blonde hair was dull. Heavy makeup tried to hide her dark circles. Her once expensive clothes now looked like they came from a thrift store. She smiled, awkwardly, and hugged me as if nothing had happened. Wow, it's been so long. You look different. I just smiled. The same smile I used when she used to say she deserved more. The smile that hides everything and reveals only the essential. She started talking, said she wasn't with the businessman anymore, that he was controlling, jealous, cheated on her with a receptionist. That after the breakup, she tried to start over, but everything kept going wrong. The modeling job didn't work out. Her friends disappeared. Invitations stopped. Life's kind of unfair, right? She said, playing with her hair. And I thought, no, life isn't unfair. Life just gives back what you put into it. She tried to get close again, said she missed me, that she remembered our simple moments, that no one ever treated her like I did. But I wasn't the same anymore. I looked into her eyes and calmly said, "You traded me for a car. Now you ride the bus. Alone." She went silent. Her eyes trembled. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. And in that instant, she understood. I said goodbye with a handshake. No bitterness, no hatred. Just the certainty that I had won. Not because I became successful, but because I freed myself from her. Because I no longer carried the weight of someone who only knew how to love themselves. Camila turned her back and vanished into the mall crowd. Like an old memory you no longer want to revisit. And me? I moved on. Because true success isn't about luxury. It's about not needing to prove anything to anyone. I thought that encounter at the mall was the end of our story. But I was wrong. A few days later, Camila started sending me messages. First, empty apologies saying she missed me. Then long texts trying to justify what she did. She said she was immature, that she got lost chasing a life that only existed in store windows. She spoke as if she had woken up from a nightmare. But I knew. She only wanted back into my world because she missed what I had become. She didn't miss me. She missed my success. I stayed silent for weeks until one day, on a whim or out of curiosity, I replied. We arranged to meet at a quiet cafe in a distant neighborhood. Not because I wanted to rekindle anything, but because I wanted to see how deep her illusion went. She arrived with tired eyes, still holding onto the same confident posture. Tried to use the old charm, but it didn't work anymore. It was like the mask had cracked, and she no longer knew how to act without it. You really changed, Lucas. I'm happy for you. Truly. Change is inevitable. You've changed too, I replied without irony. She sighed, flipping her hair. Sometimes, we only learn after we lose. I looked at her, noticing every detail. The makeup trying to hide the weight of her mistakes. Her unkempt nails. Simpler clothes. Camila was no longer the woman who paraded between imported cars and champagne. Now, she looked like someone ordinary. Someone the world had finally treated the way she treated others. You know what hurts the most? She asked. It wasn't losing you. It was realizing you were real. And I only noticed when it was too late. Her words seemed sincere. For the first time, maybe she was stripped of vanity. But inside me, there was no more room. What was once love had dissolved into a sea of maturity. And sometimes, maturity means knowing that forgiving doesn't mean accepting someone back. Camila, I don't hold a grudge. I swear I don't. But there's no space for you in the life I built. Because now, I've learned to protect myself. She lowered her eyes, took a deep breath, then murmured, I know. I just needed to hear it from you. The conversation ended there. No hug, no promises, no dramatic ending. Just two people sitting face to face, acknowledging they were strangers now. That the time they shared was a chapter closed with a period. After that day, I never saw her in person again. But now and then I'd hear rumors. She was trying to sell products online, living with a distant aunt, doing odd jobs as an event promoter. Always chasing something that never filled her. Always trying to seem happy. And me? I kept going. Growing, learning. I discovered the value of silence, of conscious solitude, of sincere company. I surrounded myself with real people who saw me for who I was, not for what I had. And one day I met someone simple, who laughed at my silly jokes, who didn't care about the car I drove or the watch on my wrist. A woman who cooked with me on Saturday nights, who listened to my dreams without judgment. And most importantly, who wanted nothing more than my presence. With her, I understood what reciprocity is. And more importantly, I understood what true love is. Camila was a lesson. One of those the universe sends to teach you about value, dignity, and what not to accept in life. She showed me that not every smile is sincere, that not all beauty is true, and that sometimes, the worst prisons are the ones we build trying to please someone who will never truly love us. Today, when I see her, from afar, riding the bus, looking out the window with that lost gaze, I don't feel joy or revenge. I feel compassion, because I know how painful it is to live in regret, knowing you had everything